how would you guys encourage that one spouse that it's sort of in this one-sided healing, and their spouse has given up or just not interested?
Yeah, I mean, you go.
Well, I think the answer is going to be really different for each of us. So
Sure.
I'll speak to the betrayed spouse. We see this a lot. I mean, there's three categories. Either the addict is hitting it out of the park, doing really great recovery work, or the addict is like, you know, nope, not interested in this. No, thank you. But most addicts are somewhere in the middle. They're kind of in
Uh-huh.
that
That
great,
messy middle.
yeah, back to the messy middle. And what I call this sitting on the fence. He's sitting on the fence. There's times when it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I feel a little safer. I think
Mm.
he's holding my heart.
Yeah.
And then there's times where it feels like he has just
He's off the rails.
off the rail.
Hmm.
And so what I work with, like, one is we want to name that. I'm a big fan, obviously, of naming things because that's going to help give us
Yes.
some agency and authority, if you will,
Hmm.
over it. If the addict is sitting on the fence for a long period of time, um, I work with the betrayed spouse on pushing him off the fence.
Hmm.
And I think there's some things that we can do to push him off the fence, and really see which way he lands. Where is he going to land? We can't choose that. We can't change him. We
Yeah.
can't change the addict. But I do think that there are some things we can do to push him off the fence. I think also for those in the category where he's just like not doing the work, I think then again in my case, she has to figure out, does she want to stay in that relationship and what does it look like to stay well?
Hmm.
Or is it time to exit the relationship? So again, I think it depends on which category. Is he on the fence? Is he completely off the rail?
Completely.
And then taking some next steps and continuing to just reassess, okay, what do I want to do
Right.
given what's happening in the relationship?
Hmm.
I will tell you, again, in my case, most women, they will roll out the red carpet for him.
Hmm.
They will wait. They do
Mm.
not want the relationship to end.
Mm.
They, most of the women we work with, they are willing to be very patient and
Yes.
wait for him to get it.
Yes.
And maybe that's also part of the question, how do I encourage that spouse?
Yeah.
Hey, that's okay too. It's okay for you to wait. We want to continue to reassess. We know that, what's the verse? Hope deferred
I don't remember how it
makes the
finishes.
heart sick.
But a
Oh,
longing fulfilled is a tree of life.
there you go. Yes. And so we do want to continue to reassess because at some point, if we're holding on to false hope, it is going to make us sick.
Yeah,
So that's a complex situation. What
for
would you say?
sure.
Absolutely.
I think something that is an important, just again, 30,000 foot thing, and then we'll talk practical, is so often what we experience, what we see people experience is recovery isn't recovery is like stair steps. You make some progress, and then you kind of like the cement has to dry,
Hmm.
and then you make and then you hit a wall, and then you make some progress, and then
Hmm.
the process almost kind of breathes as you go through
Love it.
it.
Hmm.
And that's hard to conceptualize because as you go farther and farther in recovery, the flat line gets longer and longer.
Mm.
And it can start to feel like, yeah, we're just stuck. Nothing, there's no new revelation, no new insight. We've read the books, we've done the count, and it starts to feel hard in that space. And so conceptually, just helping people remember, oftentimes what's happening in there is the cement is drying. Foundational things in y'all's relationship are starting to concretize that will get you to the next level,
Mm.
right?
Hmm.
So conceptually, back down to practical, I go back to what I said a while ago. As I'm speaking to husbands in this case, as a husband, uh, I'm from here on out, my job is to create the safest container I can for her to be the most whole person she can be. And so if that's my call, that means I've got to continue to work to get healthy. I've got to continue to learn more about her and what it means for her to be healthy. I've got to continue to learn more about her from an intimate standpoint, about her needs and longing and want and pain. And so if that's my call and then that's my work, then I'm never stuck.
Yes. Yes.
There's never not something for me to be working on in this.
Yes. That personal self focused healing and growth.
Well, us focused healing
Right.
and
Yes.
Yeah.
right. That it's yes,
Absolutely.
there's that personal character work, but it's also that how do I hold space well in the 3 years where she's put her Bible in the nightstand?
Right.
How do I hold space well when we're on the backside of a breakdown and I come home to all the lights shut off? Right? How do I hold space well? And it's symbiotic, right? It's my personal character work
Exactly.
on our relational work.
Yeah.
But there's never a point where the idea is, well, I'm stuck, and so I'm just waiting.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too, Rebecca, because I know you and Bob work with a lot of couples, and inevitably there's going to be some where he and not to use a gender specifically, but more often than not, it's he's the struggler addict, she's the betrayed. What have you encouraged that betrayed spouse with when it's evident he's not doing the work he needs to, or he's kind of just gotten apathetic or given up?
Yeah.
How do you encourage that spouse to keep working through their pain
Yeah.
when it's not a partnership?
Absolutely. And I think I would piggyback on Shelley, what you were sharing, right? That self-focus, which I also just shared, right? Like just focus on yourself. What can you do? That's what you can control in this moment is what you can do in your own healing and your own growth. Granted, that is, that transfers over to the relationship and that dynamic. But when it comes down to it, is as long as you are focused on your healing, your growth, your regulating your nervous system and gaining new tools to effectively navigate all these fears that are coming at you, then the bigger your window of tolerance is, and the more clear, educated decisions you can make when you are reassessing where you're at in the relationship, and if you need to do something else in what you're doing, and even in communicating where you're at or your fears with your spouse that may be stuck. By you doing that self-focus, you're going to be able to communicate more effectively and more compassionate and graciously, so that hopefully he receives it well. But then again, that's on him, right? You can't control that.
Well, I think that's one of our big messages at Pure Desire, that the greatest gift we give to others is a healthy, growing self.
Oh my gosh.
And that idea can be liberating in a marriage for someone to realize, I can become healthy even if you don't. That you're going to make your choices. And that means even, God forbid, if that marriage ends, the greatest future for you is a healthy self that you could bring to your family or friends or a future marriage. And I always say, too, the greatest likelihood of that marriage making it is you bringing a healthy self. And that actually, without controlling the other person, will have the greatest influence on them is your own evolving self into greater health and freedom. Like, they're going to either get on board and go like, wow, I'm missing something and I want to be a part of this, or it will naturally create the clarity of, we're not going to go in the same direction here. So I think that freedom of I can be healthy even if they don't is really a focal point that in some ways, if you're not familiar with thinking that way, can almost feel like a kind of betrayal to the marriage of like, I'm leaving you behind. No, you're doing the best thing you can for the good of the marriage is your health. And so we encourage that, even if you're joining group alone, or you're doing counseling alone, or you're reading the book alone, you're listening to this podcast and he refuses, this is good for you. And if it's good for you, it's the best thing you can take to other people.